Chronic. Tick. Happy New Year, boom! Welcome to each and every one of you beautiful Meltdown peeps. It's the first show of 2026, and we hope you had a spectacular festive season. We hoped you welcomed the new year in with as much gusto as you waved goodbye to 2025. We hope you're all up for the most sensational year that you guys can offer, and we're ready to bring you next level shows because the Meltdown is going to the moon. Welcome to each and every one of you. If you're joining us for the very first time, I'm Manchester's representative here in my very own bomb shelter here in good old UK. Yes, we fly the red, white, and blue as they do over the pond. Mine's just a little bit different shape. There's no stars and stripes on mine. We are repping it and having the most amazing memories of 2025. My name's Tom Finkill. I'm your Tomcat, and I'm joined today by the creation of devastation. As always, he is my tag team partner. He is the finest man in any room. He is a three-time tag team champion of the world. Welcome to 2026. It's Brian Clark. Woo!
Thank you, Tomcat. Man, what a year we had. 35 episodes, and we're just getting started. You know, it gives you time, a pause for a second to look back on what we did really in a relatively short time, if you think about it. But people ask me all the time about how it's going, how's how's the vibe, how is working with you. And I tell them, I said, I've had two great tag team partners in my career. And now I am lucky and blessed enough to have the Tomcat, the three-time UK host of the year. I also tell them that Tom has got a backache and it's hurting him really bad because he's still carrying me through this show. But either way, we always want to have fun here. We love that you guys are so interactive. Tom and I were chatting about possibly kicking off a Facebook uh, page for us because, of course, we're already on Instagram. And yeah, it's just been a great year. And we've got so many. We were already ready to kick off 2026 with, I don't know if he's turning into Bill Watts on me. I don't know what's going on over there in the UK, but I can tell you that it's going to be hot on this show.
Well,
What do you say
know
there,
what
Tom?
they say. You know what they say. It's our tagline, and we definitely need to get pro wrestling tees hooked up with this because shoes ain't cheap, booking ain't easy, and we are ready to kick off 2026 in the finest fetal form. Yes, I have got a full on list of stars that we are going to invite to lay the smacketh down on the meltdown, and we've got some real treats for you guys. Stars that don't regularly appear on podcasts or
Right.
social media platforms. They're going to be hitting it up to give us the full lowdown of their time within the squared circle and within the world of entertainment here on your favorite podcast, my favorite podcast, everybody's favorite podcast, right here on the Meltdown. And we promise you one thing: this show is going to go from strength to strength this year. So make sure that you are strapped in and ready to be a part of it because we are ready to drive you all the way to the moon. Now, As we're talking about 2026, we have got to look back to 2025, the debut year of the Meltdown. We sat down, we hashed everything out as to exactly what we wanted to bring to each and every one of you out there in YouTube, podcast land. And we feel that this show is going up and up and up and up. Our view figures are looking good. Our interactions with you guys are phenomenal. We want to hear what you would like to see out of 2026. But with everything that is new, we have got to revisit the past as well. We have got to pave the way for you to give you the best year. And we paved the way in 2025. So before we give you the best of 2025, which includes an incredible array, a full cast of legends that range from Alex Wright to Barry Darsow. Yes, in fact, we just got Barry's brand new book. Go out your way to pick up this bad boy. It's an absolute banger. To Gene Snitsky, the wild man, marvelous Johnny B. Bad, Marc Mero, to Dan the Beast Severn. Yes, he's a UFC Hall of Famer and an absolute icon. To our very good friend, our first interview with PCO, to Earl Hebner, who's going to be making a trip over here to Manchester very, very soon, and rounding it out with one of my favorite interviews of all time because it was so controversial. It was incredible with Ernest the Cat Miller. I'm going to bat it over to my big brother over the pond. What was one of your highlights of 2025 for me, big man?
There were so many. I mean, example, getting Davy Boy Smith, Harry Smith on our show, navigating three continents and putting them all together and being able to, that was like a 3 or 4 a.m. wake up for me, and then getting on Tom's schedule and then getting Harry's schedule because he's in Tokyo. But we pulled it off. I don't regret it. I was happy to be up at 3 a.m. because I wanted that interview. And we're probably one of the few people that have been able to pull that off, but we did it. That was great. I really enjoyed it. And again, our buddy Alex Wright, there's another one. We did it again, almost at least. And I'm just looking at our list of who all we've had. Brian Cage, AEW superstar, coming back from double knee surgery. Looking forward to that. This is a man that has the stamp of approval to bring the Meltdown back. So, ton of stuff in 2025, a ton of stuff coming in 2026. And like Tom said, we're learning from history, listening to the past, and kicking the doors in on 2026 with yours truly in the Tomcat. You got to be with us. I mean, this is your first stop right here. And listen to the whole show. Like, subscribe as we grow each and every week.
That's what it's all about, brother. Be there or be square. We are all in. One of my big highlights you pointed out to me just in our little pre-show amble was the opportunity for a full-on mic drop with a legend that is Mr. Anderson. Yes, Mr. Kennedy got to sample the Tomcats little cosplay section when it came to reliving some moments from the past. That was a big highlight for me. Chatting it up with Juventud Guerrera and so many others. It's been fun. It's been fresh, and there's heat all over the place in a good
he
way.
is.
We love it.
Yeah, he's got his clothing line. I mean, he's still working. He looks great. He's in great shape. A lot of these guys, I say a lot, but guys that are still at the end of their career, are transitioning from pro wrestling to another part of their life. I love that the guys are keeping themselves in shape and working out and just not giving in. I don't mean giving in as in quitting, as in just health. Health is wealth. We know that. So that's another thing in 2026 we want everybody to really concentrate on.
I echo that sentiment more than ever. Yes, look after yourselves. We are going to continue to be a very positively driven podcast. We're going to produce you shows that are going to completely promote mental well-being, good mental health, and just looking after each other. Yes, wrap your arms around each other because life is too short. Just make sure that you wake up every day with a smile on your face, love in your heart, and know that we here at the Meltdown have got your back. So let's start 2026 in the finest way, as we say, by looking back. And we are going to kick off our shoes. We are going to grab a beautiful, refreshing, ice cold beverage. Grab yourselves a snack, sit in and relax as we're going to kick off the show with Das Wunderkind. This is Alex Wright.
Like when I was injured, I kept wrestling. I kept wrestling with many concussions. That's the reason why I ended up being blind. In when was it? 1997. That was very tough because I bought a house. Next day I got married, and 2 days later I was blind. And
I didn't know this. Talk
I
to me
didn't know.
about this.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
oh, you didn't? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it
no,
was because the thing was the WCW office wanted to make me as the youngest US champion ever. And at that time, I had Deborah McMichael on my side when I was walking to the ring.
Right.
And I was really getting a real good push. And I didn't want to lose that push or my spot on the show. So I kept wrestling with, concussions. And yeah, we had pay-per-view and then we had Monday Nitro I think in Toronto. And the whole day I already had headaches and I was feeling sick and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, my head felt like it was bursting. And I had to wrestle Prince Iake in a singles match. And yeah, I wrestled him and he gave me an Inzugiri kick to the back of the head. And blood vessel popped in my head because the brain pressure was already too high from all the concussions. And during the match, my vision went away. I finished the match, and while I was walking back to the entrance and through the curtain, I was totally blind.
Wow.
That's it. Yeah. Then they rushed me to the emergency hospital and stuff like that. And yeah, hardest call I ever had to make is calling my wife and said, "Hey, listen, I'm blind. I don't know how we, gonna continue our life." Yeah. But I was young and my body's, absorbed all the blood in my brain. I didn't have to get any surgery. I mean, they put a plastic tube through my whole body, through the artery to my brain and tested everything while you're awake. I mean, you feel the pushing up there and stuff like that. I wasn't allowed to move 1 week at all. And my wife, after the 7 days, there was the first time I took a shower. She had to carry me to the place and help me because my balance was off and all that stuff. And then I flew back to Atlanta. And then I had to stay 1 month in a dark room and I wasn't allowed to move at all. And yeah, that was a hard time, but I was lucky. I had my vision again. But anything which I'd done at that time, like going the stairs or even going to the restroom, you were afraid if your brain can take that pressure. That sounds funny, but it actually it is. It's really tough. And yeah, so I managed to pass that month and by, and then I started slowly again training at home. I was living in Atlanta, the houses are built like wood style. So I took a bump in my dining room. I felt sick for like 2 hours after that. Every day I took a bump again and another bump. So my body gets used to it again, my brain. And yeah, after about 3 months or something like that, I went down to the power plant again, started working out there again, and another 2 or 3 months. And then I went to the office and said, "Listen, guys, I'm ready. I want to go back. I'm fit and I'm excited to join you guys on the show again." They said, "No, you're never gonna step in the ring again." I said, "What? Why? I don't know anything else. That's my life. I mean, that was always my dream. And they said, "No, the doctor said you can die." And I said, "No, you're kidding me." So I was almost on my knees, just please let me back in the ring. I said, "No." So I went to one doctor, to another doctor, and another doctor. I don't know how many doctors I went to. And one day I found somebody who said, "Yeah, it's possible that you step in the ring." And he gave me like a sheet, paper, whatever. And I went to the office and said, "Hey, listen, guys, here it says on this paper, I'm able to go back to the ring." And they said, "Okay." And then they created a contract that thick, and on every page it was standing like, okay, you know, it's your own responsibility when you go back in the ring, and you release us from the liability, and you know you can die, you know you can die. On every page. I didn't even read through it. I went just, and then I wrestled many, many years back on the on the show.
Wow.
Yeah. But in New Japan, for injuries, just that fans get an idea what wrestlers go through. I mean, I was on that tournament for 6 weeks. In the first week, I ripped my my inner ligament on the knee, and I wrestled 6 weeks with that, and I broke my, how you say, vertebrae, my chest vertebrae was half broken, and I kept wrestling the 6 weeks. I had unbelievable pain. You know, it's just for the fans that it's a really tough business, especially for all the European or German viewers of your show, because a lot of fans here in Germany say, "Oh, it's all fake" or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's tough business what we do in the ring, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of fans do not realize the toll it takes on us over the years. The number of surgeries we've had. I was talking with Marc Mero last week about the number of surgeries, and Alex, you're probably the same way. But just, you know, concussions that we've had, being knocked out in the ring. There's just a litany of injuries that pile up, and as you get older, you really feel them more and more each day. So that's why we have to do the best we can do and be positive about it, and you know, find ways, research, like I said, the ice plunge, all these little different things, the diet, the cardio, all those things help you at least stay in balance. You know, that's sort of the way I look at it. And each day it's tough, but we keep moving. You know.
Yeah. You're totally right. You have to stay positive. And if I had the choice again, I would do nothing different. I would still, because it's a great life being a wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed every moment from it. I mean, it gives you so much, you know. I mean, there are a lot of downsides, but the big part of the business is just, I mean, at least for me, it was just perfect. And
yeah. Hey, we love it, man. We do. We did it for a reason. It's because we love it.
Yeah.
And as fans, we loved you for everything that you gave, and I think it's a side of the industry that's probably a little bit more enhanced now, in that we do hear about the injuries, and we are sending all our love out to Zoe Starks, who unfortunately had a horrendous knee injury yesterday at Monday Night Raw. But I was never aware of that story. I was never aware of your blindness. I was never aware of the concussion in that match, and it was never elaborated upon. And it was a case of you were on TV, and then you were off TV, and there was no explanation why.
Well,
and I think it should have been highlighted.
Yeah. The next thing is, what people also don't realize at home is, even if you're back on TV, it's very hard mentally, if you had a hard injury, to get back and feel secure in the ring again and be confident again. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a head injury or a knee injury, you always have in your back and your mind, oh, fuck, if I jump, does it hold? Is my knee okay afterwards? And can I do this? Because if I get injured and I'm out, they're going to fire me, you know, I lose my job, you know, it's all kind of this mental stuff, which really hard. And when I was for WCW, and after I started wrestling again after this head injury, I traveled a lot by myself at the end, because the partying time was over for me. You know, I didn't want to party that much anymore. I did a lot of partying in my life, and I traveled by myself. And sometimes, like if in Idaho or whatever, you know, you drive for hours from one city to other, and you don't see a house or anything, you know, and it was night, like 2 a.m. and at night, I was driving there. I felt sick from the last match because I got a clothesline to my head. I always thought to myself, will I manage to arrive to the next city? Will I get there? You know, that's tough, you know. I'm glad that it's over. But let's change the subject. I don't want to pull you down. You know.
No, I was hanging on every word, Alex. Hanging on every word, and
going on we would have never known that. Our listeners would never have known that, and that's just. I mean, we took a little deep dive there, and I appreciate you being so open and honest about that. I mean, that is It's I'm just so glad that everything turned out the way it did, man.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Now,
it's just
now let's talk about all the sex, the drugs, the rock and roll, the bitches. No.
we'll be here for weeks.
I'm just going to sit back and relax for this one. Go
Okay.
ahead, boys.
But I think we need a couple hours for that, right, Brian?
Well, we'll start with our favorite strip clubs and work our way down.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going to do next? The Mount Rushmore of strip clubs?
Yeah. Well, let's. I'll tell you what. For our viewers and listeners at home, let's keep it within the pro wrestling realm. And
Well,
let's
what I'm
do
going
our.
to do now is I'm going to ask a question for Barry, and I'm going to ask a question for Brian. And you guys have both got your own ideas. You've both got your own individuality. There's no right answers. There's no wrong answers. But we're going to send this out to the Meltdown universe. As we do each week, we ask our guests to name a different Mount Rushmore on various topics. And the Mount Rushmore that I'm going to ask from Barry Darsow is Mount Rushmore of gimmicks. Give me your top 4, Barry. Who would appear on your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling gimmicks?
Okay, Santino, yep, up in the WWE. And in fact, I was with him the day before yesterday, and I told him, I said, you were my favorite gimmick out of anybody I've ever seen. I loved him. And then Sacco, Mankind Sacco, Mr. Perfect was one of my favorite gimmicks. And when you watch his videos and all that stuff, it really looked like he was doing that. And then
whoa, wait. He wasn't really doing that.
No, he really did that. And then Doink the Clown, I thought was just it was a great gimmick, because the evil clown, every kid hates the evil clown.
And Matt Bourne pulled it off to perfection.
Yes.
What a four. So we've got Santino, we've got Mick Foley Socko, we've got Mr. Perfect, and Doink the Clown. They are a 4 epic Mount Rushmore. Okay, so we're going to pitch your 4. Brian, what have you got for me, brother?
Okay, this is not any particular order, and this is really not based on work rate, more of just, although some of them had great work rates. I'm going to go with the Ultimate Warrior, just because it was an electric entrance, and a big part of his gimmick. The next one would be Macho Man, because Macho was a great worker and it was a great gimmick also. My third choice is Yokozuna. I thought Rodney played that part phenomenal, and with Fuji and with Cornette there, just a winning combination all the way. And then my fourth one, I had a little trouble with this one because there's so many. But while we were in Vegas at WrestleCon, I actually met a guy who knew this gentleman before coming to the States and just laid out his whole history. And it's the Iron Sheik. So I had to go a little old school, but this is the cab driver who had moved to this country, I don't know, 40, 50 years ago, and was just telling us all this information about the Sheik. So those are my 4. Yep.
And if you hadn't have said that, his ghost would have broken you back and made you humble.
Yeah, exactly.
That Iron Sheik, I totally agree. That was one of the best gimmicks, I think. I got a quick story about the Sheik.
Oh, let's sit pretty. We're going to melt down into our armchairs, and Barry's going to lay it up for the Sheik.
So we're in the dressing room. All the guys are in there. We're laughing. We're in the Sheik's, a couple of chairs away from me. And Vince walks in and he says, "Hey, how's everybody doing today? You in a really good mood and everything?" And he says, "Sheik," he says, "I need to talk to you." And Sheik goes, "Ugh, just talk to me in front of everybody. I have nothing to hide." And Vince says, "Okay, you tested positive for drugs." And the Sheik goes, "Oh, this is the best. This is incredible. I passed the test. I never do drugs. I do nothing." And everybody in the dressing room is going, laughing. And he was serious. "I passed. I am positive. This is very good, Vince McMahon." And Vince goes, "No, Sheik, you don't understand." Now Vince is laughing. He goes, "No, that's bad. You were positive for drugs." oh, somebody ring the test. It couldn't have been positive on me. And that was the Sheik.
Oh, that is great. Oh, love it.
From
Classic
A to
Sheik,
Z,
man.
he's a star.
The Sheik and his Heinekens, remember? You'd always have to have the, smoke the gimmick, baby, and to drink the Heinekens.
I think
Good
we should
stuff.
just do a week of just Sheik stories. That'd be
Oh.
amazing. There's an idea for the demo pod. And
Well,
now,
but yeah, we tagged the Howard Stern gimmick and reminisce about the Sheik stories. Yes.
that'd be great. That'd be amazing. It's time for Winner Stays On. Legendary stars who were never champion. Let's go for it. First two names: $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and Buff Bagwell.
Got to go with Ted.
Keeping with Teddy, Buff takes a blockbuster. Ted DiBiase or Razor Ramon.
Wow. Still got to go with Ted.
Every man has his price, and Razor Ramon just took the edge. Ted DiBiase or Haku.
Oh, wow. I got to switch it. Haku.
You've got to switch it because that Tonga death grip's coming for you. Haku or King Kong Bundy.
Haku.
Haku or Arn Anderson.
I love you, Double A, but Haku.
Spinebuster. Haku or Kevin Sullivan.
Rest in peace, Kevin. Haku.
Haku or the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith.
I didn't do it. Haku. It wasn't me.
We'll talk about that on future episodes. British Bulldogs going over?
No. Haku.
Haku. Haku or Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Tough one again. Haku.
Haku or Owen Hart.
Oh, Haku. Love you, Owen.
Haku or Luna Vachon.
Haku.
Haku or Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
Oh. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
Travis is going to love you. Mr. Wonderful or Bruiser Brody.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful or Bam Bam Bigelow.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful or the Junkyard Dog.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful or Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful or Rikishi.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful or Abdullah the Butcher.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful or Ravishing Rick Rude.
Tough one. Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful or Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful or Jake the Snake Roberts.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful or Brian Clark.
Oh, Mr. Wonderful.
Hey! An absolute icon and another raise high.
He is a guy that he was my mentor in this business and a guy that I spent time with at Smoky Mountain Wrestling on the road. And I remember him telling me those stories of the steel cage matches where it was for the gold. It was for the belt. And he said he had thought about it. He goes, what if I do just jump down and hit the floor before Hogan? What if I would have done that? We talked about that. And to find out that he's in the game today, I love it. I knew when you said it, all the other people, I was like, wow, Haku's got this. But Paul is a guy that was in those steel cage matches for the world title, all over the world, and so deserving. Some of those guys you mentioned, I don't know if they could have been trusted. I don't know if that's the right word, but I don't know if Vince would have said, okay, we're going with this guy at the time, depending on what was happening. But with Paul definitely could have carried it. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. Good one, though, Tomcat. Great list, man. Great. You killed it.
Great answers, brother. I like it. We're a tag team. We make each other shine. And there was nobody finer than Mr. Wonderful. He absolutely lived that gimmick. He was incredible. He was amazing. He was wonderful. So thank you. He's not blowing smoke. At the time that this happened, I was DJing in bars around Manchester. This particular bar that I was in showed Monday Night Raw on a Friday night because we didn't get it live. So ours was taped, and in the UK we saw it on a Friday. So I went out to work and it came on the bar about 10 p.m. at night and I was spinning some tunes and playing some tunes. And your spot came up with Kane, and it's a spot that we're going to talk about next. It's the infamous baby punt, and the entire bar gasped in unison. There it is, right there. It's so over that he's wearing it on his chest. And it really, well, honestly, the whole bar gasped. And it was one of those where I'm turning my head and I'm seeing replays. And people are coming up to me going, that wasn't a real baby, right? I was like, let's just get this straight right now. Nobody's going to be showing a tape delayed TV show where they actually murder a child on air. So just bring yourselves down and have another drink. But let's talk a little bit about this. And the name that you dropped before, obviously, he was the head honcho of WWE from the start up until very, very recently. I want to know what kind of advice Vince gave you just before you walked through that curtain before the baby punt.
Well, here's a funny Vince McMahon story. We're out at the ring. They finally tell me, what I'm going to be, putting this baby and all that. And we're walking through it. And Vince looks at me and he goes, whatever you do, don't fuck it up. Don't miss the baby. I was like, listen, Mr. McMahon, I was an all-area punter in high school. This is going to be freaking amazing. I'm telling you. Like I said, I wasn't one that lacked confidence, so I knew I was going to crush it. And my mindset was I was trying to kick it as high as I could to hit the overhead Tron thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was what I was like envisioning. I'm like, I'm gonna bounce it off of that thing, and people are just gonna be like, holy shit. But it even ended up coming out better because it flew into the crowd, and then the guy actually threw it back at me. You don't see that on camera, but if you look at it and watch it back, you'll see me go. I kind of like just do a little dip because the freaking guy threw it back at me. He was so mad, he took the damn baby doll and threw it back at me. But I had to stay in character, so I kind of played it off. But man, it was freaking great. That was so much fun. Like, I love that shit. I do that stuff at the house.
Welcome to a regular Wednesday in the Snitsky.
Just another day. Just another day.
I'm going to put a ticker on the bottom of this show. If you want your baby kicking, call this number. Oh, what an incredible story, Bryan.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Gene. As I was going through your history and watching all of your stuff, I was wondering, this is what I wanted to ask you. I was like, okay, you had such a great look versus Kane, and then they sort of changed you up, and I didn't really understand it. Maybe you can fill in the blanks for me. Was it because of ECW that they gave you that new look, or were they trying to go for something different? Because it felt, did you feel like they should have changed it, or were you happy with the change?
I often wonder to myself, Bryan, what the heck, why they did that. But I was just walking by the ring one day because we used to go out back in the day. You go out and work out in the ring and do whatever. Yeah. So I was just walking out to the ring, and Vince pulls me aside and he goes, "Hey, I got this idea. I want you to shave all your hair off and go see the makeup lady and see if they can make your teeth look bad." And I'm like, I swear to God, I thought to myself, is he fucking with me? Oh, sorry. Are we allowed to curse?
Go ahead.
I'm literally thinking, is he fucking with me right now? Is he ribbing me? Is this a joke? And I'm like, I'm going to look just like Glenn, right? And he's like, I don't care. I'm moving you to ECW. I'm like, what do you say? You can't say no to Vince. It's like an opportunity for me. I was like, okay. So shaved all my hair off. Got this makeup stuff from New York City that I had to order, and it came in like a lady's nail polish bottle type thing, and I had to get my teeth like totally dry and painted on. What a pain in the ass! That was the worst part, having to do that every night for house shows and then for TV. But I always joke around with people. I'm like, well, it got me another action figure, so hey, what the heck?
There you go. See, it all pays off, and sometimes years later. But there's a tie in there. So I was curious.
Just for the record, though, I hated that character. I didn't like it at all.
Okay.
I mean, I thought it was cool that they were pushing me as the monster on ECW.
Yeah.
But then I don't know whose bright idea it was, but Stephanie came up to me backstage and she's like, "My dad just thinks you're doing such a great job on ECW. We're gonna draft you back to Raw next draft." I'm like, Are you kidding me? Like, that's what I'm thinking to myself. Like, I'm finally getting some footing. I'm finally getting over with this monster, crazy psycho killer guy. And then they're just gonna sweep the rug out from under my feet and take me right back to Raw. It just didn't make any sense to me, but you know.
And that's the way, yeah, I understand. That's the way it happens at times. It really is.
Another one of the wonderful friendships that you formed is with the legendary DDP, who you are still big friends with now, and a big proponent of DDPY. It's why we're rocking the bling today, as I'm a proud member of the 100,000 Club. I'm a big user of DDPY and will sing its praises from every rooftop in Manchester. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about DDP with you, and obviously your history with him, and where he finds himself today as truly a light side of the ring. Everybody likes to talk about the dark side of the ring, and it's wonderful for us here on the Meltdown. We're a very positive show to showcase so many people who embody the light side of the ring. Let's have a little chat about DDP.
Well, there's some good news and some bad news, okay? I made the mistake of moving 20 minutes down the road from DDP, okay? Because now it's like, hey, Mark, come on, let's do the ice plunge. Let's do this, let's do that. I'm like, damn. And Bryan will tell you that the ice plunge, when you first do it, okay, the first time I go over to Dallas's home to do the ice plunge. I'm always over there doing stuff, working out or whatever, okay? And now he just bought a new home in Florida, but he keeps this one here, so he's here half the year and in Florida half the year. So I have a half year rest now, okay? But so he says, let's do the gauntlet today. And I'm like, okay. See, me and him have always been so competitive. Like, I try to out push up him, out sit up him. We go crazy on each other because, like, I'll give you an example. We do DDPY push-ups, which are 10 seconds up, you hold it 10 seconds, 10 seconds down, you hold it. And so it's really like 60 seconds is like, or 30 seconds is one push-up, okay? And if you get like 10 or 12, that's like incredible. Like, it's amazing if you could do that many. And that son of a gun would beat me in those things. And I went into training on him. Like, I would do them every day. And so I went over his house and I blew him away, right? And he's like, where did you come up with this, And I was like, so we have that mindset against each other. Of course, he's since won it back, We have this imaginary belt that we're going for. Anyways, long story short, he comes over, he says, let's do the gauntlet today. So I go to his house, and it's a day in Atlanta. There's frost on the ground. It's that cold outside. And of course, his ice bucket is outside that you got to go into, And so we go outside. I just got shorts on, it's freezing. So I'm sitting there waiting, and I go, okay, let me get in this thing. He goes, let me explain this whole thing to you, why you're doing this. And he starts telling me stories about getting into the ice plunge, why it's so good for inflammation, and why it's good for this, and good for your heart, and good for your brain, and good. And I'm going, Dallas, let me just get in there. He goes, but you got to tell me a story, because this is your first time. It's really difficult. And I said, well, how long do I got to stay in? He says, 3 minutes. Now, it's freezing outside, okay? I get in this thing, and you got to go right up to your neck, okay? You go slide all the way down into this big tub, and you go right up to your neck. And Bryan, I don't know if you remember your first time. It's like, you think you're going to die, because it's like you've never experienced anything this cold this long. Even if it's 30 seconds, it's like longer than you've ever experienced something this cold. Yeah. I did 2.5 minutes my first time, but Dale's is telling me to tell stories. So he goes, tell me a boxing story. So I remember a match I was talking to him about, fighting this guy back in the day. And I'm telling the story and I'm out of the story. And all of a sudden I realize, oh my gosh, this is, I don't know if this is healthy for me. Like, it gets to the point where you don't know if it's going to go the opposite way. And so I did 2.5 minutes. I got out, and then we go right into the DDPY workout with the cuffs on, the power
cuffs. Yeah.
And then we go into the oxygen tank, where you get on a bike with an oxygen mask on, and he shuts off your oxygen. And I'm like, Dallas, I know you never got to beat me in WCW, but why are you trying to kill me now? So, but he is one of the greatest, man. I tell you, he's an inspiration. The other day I was just telling him about I've had five shoulder surgeries, and I was telling him that, man, my shoulders are like so stiff, you know, and I'm trying to like stretch him, and he goes, "Hey, bro, this is what you got to do." And he goes out, and now he's in Florida right now. So he goes out on his deck in Florida, and he makes like 5 videos to send me, and each one's like a minute and a half long. I'm thinking, what friend takes that kind of time because he's concerned about your health? And that's the kind of guy he is. And he's working with Lex right now. And coincidentally, I mean, the 2 guys I chose to write my foreword to the book, Lex and DDP, and it just so happens DDP inducts Lex into the WWE Hall of Fame. So what a blessing, man, to have 2 friends that wrote such nice things about me that then work together and are working together right now to get Lex to someday walk again.
It comes full circle, truly unstoppable. We are sending all our love out to DDP. And yeah, thank you so much for DDPY. It's helped me so much. I've dropped about 32 pounds with DDPY and feel blessed from it. So thank you very much. Everybody, I would definitely go out your way, check it out, download the app, give it a little try that 7-day trial. It is well worth it. We're going to share this on the DDPY social pages to just let you know that we've all got your back.
But if he invites you over for the gauntlet, say you're busy that day, okay?
I feel Bryan messages me every morning after he's done the ice plunge.
This is where he does not treat his friends fairly, okay?
I do it I do it every morning, man. I love it. I've almost 15 months of it now. And the only days I really miss is if I have an event like, you know, WrestleCon, which was in Vegas for 3 or 4 days. So I did miss it during that time, which I wish, you know, you can, if you get dedicated to it, your body really gets acclimated to it, and it's just so beneficial. Yes. I swear by it.
Now we like to play games with our guests, and we give them a variety of topics. We've just done the Mount Rushmore. Now I'm going to play a little game with you called Winner Stays On. So I'm going to give you a list of wrestlers, and it's going to be one against the other, and you're going to tell me who you would keep on at any particular point. Now, whether it's you like them personally in the back, whether or not they had great work rate, whether their gimmick was better than the other, you've got to go for it. No holds barred. Barry Darsow, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. All right. So we're going to start it off. Hillbilly Jim or the Red Rooster?
Hillbilly Jim.
Rooster's gone. Hillbilly Jim or the African Dream Akeem?
Akeem.
So we got Akeem, the gobbledygooker.
Akeem.
Okay, Akeem stays on. Akeem or Brother Love?
I got to go with Akeem. And I love Brother Love too, but I got to go with Akeem.
Akeem's running strong right now, repping the George. Yes. Okay, Akeem or the Big Boss Man?
Oh, you don't even do that to me.
Gotta keep going.
I'm picking them both.
No, can't. It's got to be one or the other. One or the other.
One.
Well, the Big Boss Man.
Okay. We'll keep it in our heart. George, we love you. Big Boss Man or Kamala?
Yeah. Big Boss Man.
Okay. Boss Man stays on. Boss Man or Dude Love?
Boss Man.
Keeping it real. Boss Man or Nails?
Boss Man.
Boss Man or Sergeant Slaughter?
It's got to be Sarge.
Boss Man goes down. He's felt that nightstick shot. Sergeant Slaughter.
This is really hard,
I know. I've got 3 more. Let's see how we go. Sarge or the Iron Sheik?
I got to go Sarge.
Sheiky baby is not happy with Mr. Darsow. Sarge or Doink the Clown?
Sarge.
And last, Sarge or the Repo Man?
Well, I got to go with the Repo Man.
Yeah, baby. We're going over. We're going over. We said the hot tag. Babyface Repo wins.
Fantastic.
I love you guys.
Oh, you're amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Meltdown universe, thank you so much to the legendary, the iconic, the one and only Barry Darsow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show, and thank all the fans. That's what makes all of us is the fans. So thanks.
A pleasure. And
I'm
when it came to the WWF, as you came at the similar amount of time that they were unleashing an unholy faction in the Ministry of Darkness. And I want to talk a little bit about this and any kind of opportunities that you may have been offered to be a part of that particular stable.
Well, when the creative team started to pitch this idea to me, I don't think they even got halfway through the pitch, and I put my hand up like a T, and I'm going, the whistle, the timeout, guys, not going to happen. I'm not going to, they wanted to put 666 across my forehead, mark of the beast, the whole 9 yards, and I'm going, no. If I had been a nobody, and this was my opportunity to go from one side to I would have kind of contemplated it, but I always at that when that was being pitched to me, I said, if you guys should drop me from the roster right then and there, that'll be the last thing that people ever remember about Dan Severn. Dan Severn's cheese has slipped off the cracker. He's gone to the dark side for real. He's got 666 across his forehead. He's lost it. So it's like, no, I am not going to go that route. I was flat against it. And then one of the road agents had the audacity to say, well, Dan, we could start using you poorly. I go, what exactly does that mean? He says, well, we can have you start losing matches. I go, right. You can ask me to lose a match.
Yeah.
But I go, what if I turn fantasy into reality? So as I going, I don't think they expected that from me. But at that point, I had bowed my back, and I'm thinking, well, you backed me into a corner. I'm going to come out swinging, because you don't back people into corners like that. So it's like going, and it even had crossed my mind coming up, because there was I forget the big pay-per-view that was coming up, where literally you start out with only X number of people out in the ring, but then they start feeding people in every minute and a half to 2 minutes that they feed in the next talent, so that the payper-view keeps going on.
Royal Rumble, yeah.
Royal Rumble, okay.
Yeah, one of their big pay-per-views.
Right.
I kept thinking I could probably reach out to Eric Bischoff and WCW to say, okay, gents, I already know what number I'm going into the ring as, and I know when I'm supposed to be tossed back on out. I go, at the moment of being tossed out, what if I turn fantasy into reality? What's it worth to you guys for me to turn fantasy into reality, knowing that they will eventually get me out of the ring, but they haven't got me out of the arena yet? So I think I could have cut a pretty good salary for one night's worth of work. But at the same token, I'm one of the kind of people that believe that you're not supposed to bite the hand that's feeding you. But at the same token, you're not supposed to be screwing over the talent, though, either. So there was like a little bit of a conundrum that I'm dealing with. But all I know is that I basically just said, to WWF that simply pay me out for the dates I have left on my thing, and I will simply just wash my hands of you guys, and you guys could be rid of me. And that's how we left it. So it's like I didn't really get nothing more out of it. But I still probably had, 6 or 8 months on a contract that I'm just receiving my check.
And that happens a lot of times, Dan. That happened to me once or twice also, but it's creative. Like you said, they put you in that box, and you're just like, okay, for example, giving you that gimmick of the 666. There were 100 other ideas they could have come up with besides that. And that's what someone on the booking committee got, and they said, oh, this is a great idea. And then 4 other guys said, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do this. And it's not a great idea, but they don't want to come back off of it and go a different direction. Yeah. And they got to realize that you're the talent, you're the one who has to portray what they're giving you. and they don't
Yeah.
understand that part of it. At least they didn't seem like they did.
Yeah, well, Vince Russo was kind of, head of the creative team at that point in time, and I think Vince was running around. He had some crazy ideas. When there's some good ideas he came up with, but it wasn't good ideas for me.
In professional Queen Havoc week, and you can fill us in about how I love the Meltdown, because I love the Meltdown. And as we're talking about meltdowns, before we truly kick things off with the current product, it's Halloween Havoc week, and what better place to start than with one of the biggest meltdowns in professional wrestling history. Let's take a trip back to 1998 as my tag team partner strapped it all up in Wrath attire and faced one of the biggest opponents in his career. He took on Meng at Halloween Havoc 1998, and I'm gonna just bat it over to you, big man. Talk to us about your memories of Halloween Havoc 98 and that absolute banger.
I loved it. I loved working with Ming. What a monster he is. He was probably about 320, 325 at the time. Just a big brute, man, and just so powerful, so strong, fast, athletic. I've worked him many times before in tag matches with the late Chris Canyon, of course, as Wrath and Mortis, and then worked him many, many times as a single, as Wrath. And but that particular match in Halloween Havoc, man, I wasn't sure. I'd never put the meltdown on him. I honestly did not know if I could do it. And full disclosure here, I tried it in the back. At the time, it was weird. I had a couple of earrings in my ear, so I tried it in the back and got about halfway up, and it ripped him out as I was picking him up. So I didn't go all the way. So I'm just bleeding out of the ear, pretty good here. And so I stopped, and I said, okay. I said, well, either way, if I do not get you, I will make sure that I'll lay you out flat. I'll be safe no matter what. But at the point, up until the actual spot in the match, I was not sure I could do it.
Wow.
But the adrenaline and everything kicked in. If you ever watch it, you'll see that I get him right here, and then the next part is just and then
Final surge.
It's like and all the boys in the back were watching. Everybody that I talked to in my circle of friends, that even outside, they were like, nah, he's not gonna be able to do that. He can't do that. So there was even more incentive to do it.
When you've got a sellout at the curtain, you know that you are over. The boys are wanting to watch what you can do, wanting to see if it happens. And I bet that pop was awesome when you guys walked backstage.
Yeah. It felt great. I was like, man, I got him, and I mentioned the earrings getting ripped off earlier in the match. Well, once that, that already opened up pre-match. So once he got in, that was around the Mike Tyson era where he bit an opponent, right?
Yeah.
So Ming did it to me, and just if you watch, he just starts beating it down and opening it up,
Amazing. It's these insights that we like to hear, Bryan. This is what people are here for. They want the full-on skinny. They want the full 2020. They are looking back and hitting you up for that, just that inside information.
Yeah.
That's what all wrestling fans love.
Yeah, man. Like I said, he opened it up and got the ear bleeding, and we worked that for a while, which is massive elbow shots in there. We always worked very stiff, very snug, but very safe. But that's his style. That's my style. We both loved it. And if he hears this, there's so much thanks to him. I love him. He's a great guy, and I absolutely love working with him. Just a complete credit to this business.
Well, let's raise a glass, as we do each and every episode, to a man who is still beating. He is still kicking. He is still literally living the dream, because his boys are now on WWE programming. We are going to come to that very soon. But Tonga, Meng, Haku, we raise a glass to you, good sir. Absolute Speaking legend. Of Bryan, we've got a very interesting question about Bryan that has come in from Steve James in Reno, Nevada. Very easy question. It is only 6 words long.
Okay.
Tell us a Bryan Adams story.
Oh, wow. From Marino, huh?
Yeah.
There's so many. when you're on the road with someone that you're riding for hours or you're flying or whatever the case may be, I know that I have a book worth of stories of Bryan. This one, like I said, I looked at a preview of the notes, and one that just sort of popped out of my head. I remember him telling me the story about him and his brother had bought a dirt bike, a motorcycle, and they had it like in a little sunroom. Bryan, of course, Kona, Hawaii, living there with his mom and his brother, and they had this motorcycle, and they had it in this little sunroom. And I wish I could tell the story as well as Bryan did, because I don't hold a candle to it. But I can just give you some tent poles of the story. But I remember him telling me that they fired the motorcycle up, so they got it running, right? Just ring, ring, ring. And somehow Bryan gave it too much juice, and it went straight through the glass sliding doors.
Oh, no.
Yeah, just shattered everything. And him and his brother's like, "What?" First of all, they were okay, no injuries or anything, but they were like, "Oh my God, Mom is going to kill us. What are we going to do?" So they managed to get all the glass cleaned up, okay? Get a repairman out to their house and replace the glass sliding doors before his mom got home from work.
Wow, that's dedication.
Now, so here's the catcher. It's like, okay, so they're thinking, okay, we did it. We got away with this. Oh man, I so a month goes by, a couple of months go by. So Mom is vacuuming the carpet by the edge of where the glass sliding door is, right? Vacuum. Well, I guess when the accident happened, glass went everywhere, and including under the edge of that. So she peels that carpet back, and there's glass everywhere. So he's totally busted.
Man.
I don't know the full consequences of what happened, but either way, moral of the story is you never can hide everything from Mom. She's gonna get you sooner or later. But that was one of there's always the wrestling stories of Bryan, but then there's the family stuff that most people just don't get to hear. But who else drives a motorcycle through the glass sliding windows and then gets out of it, no injuries, and then tries to clean it up and get away with it?
Teflon coated Bryan Adams.
Yeah,
that's what it is. What a story, man. That was great. And this is what we like to hear on the Meltdown.
Yeah.
We like to shine that spotlight, go under the microscope just a little bit, and find out a little bit more about our beloved heroes. So brilliant. How old do you reckon Bryan was at that particular time? He's got to be what, mid-teens, late teens?
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
I think his brother was a couple of years older than him. So I bet he was probably 16, 17, something like that.
Okay, cool. So
I'm sure that his brother had a big part of getting everything put back together.
And he should have known better. That's the way you are leading younger brothers down very bad paths. What a story! Excellent portrayal of someone that we hold near and dear to our hearts. Beautiful. Pac versus NWO Hollywood, and you got inserted into the mix as the Giants tag team partner. Do you remember that show?
I do.
Okay.
I'm pretty good at remembering the cities too. I want to say that was Little Rock, Arkansas, and there was another one, but I don't remember the second city. Was it Memphis?
I've only got one
Okay.
with you and Giant, but you were absolutely bang on. Little Rock, Arkansas. Big tick for Bryan Clark.
I've got a story with that too.
Go. Let's listen.
House show. Okay. We had a run-in from a fan. And usually on a house show, it's just not, usually if that happens, usually someone's looking for some airtime, a little bit of TV time. They think that it will not get edited out, whatever the case may be. A fan hit the ring that night in that tag match. And I remember the Giant, also the Big Show. I just remember the guy came under the ropes, and all the boys know this. We take care of our own in the ring. You never get in the ring, ever. I just remember him reaching down and grabbing this fan and one step and just launches this guy. And he goes all the way over to the other side. I was like, wow. It was like a plane flying through the air. Yeah, but yeah, true story. Yeah.
I can visualize it in my mind.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah,
a
hey.
giant.
So now they know, don't run into a pro wrestling ring. It's not going to end up well for you. So,
and there's our next reel.
there you go.
But in terms of your singles run, I want to take you back a little bit, and I'm going to show the clip as we talk about it to a lost match. I say a lost match. It lives in infamy within the internet wrestling community, and that's the match that you guys had on Action Zone. So the clips are going to roll as we have a little chat about that, about your singles run as the Pirate Jean-Pierre Lafitte, and what your memories are about working with a big man here.
Yeah, I remember without watching it.
I do too.
Is that a good thing?
No, it was good. That was fun. I mean, that was fun for me. That wasn't fun for Bryan because he just came out of a meeting and he was pissed. So, yeah, he was so pissed. He was so pissed.
What about
that night? Not that night, but he knew that night that his time was like almost done in WWF. So for him to go there and to perform the way that he did, I mean, that shows how professional he was, And for me, I just wanted to have like a good match with one of my best friends in the business, So at that time, we just wanted to tear it up, just have a great one. And it was fun, but I know where he was coming from and what he was promised and things like that. And yeah, to say the least, he wasn't happy during that afternoon.
Do you remember that meeting, Bryan?
I honestly, I do not. For some reason, I'm sure if Carl says it, he's probably on point with it. I just knew that we would have a great match. We were friends, and we had the chemistry there. And people do not give Carl enough credit of how fast he is. If you watch that match, you see the speed of which he comes off the ropes. I mean, he looks like he's just nonstop, like a freight train. I mean, and all the major things he would take. I mean, he took like a backdrop out on the floor. He took some amazing bumps off the top. I did a dive over the top. We did stuff that big guys were not doing. And we were both safe. We took care of each other, and I loved it. I'd worked Carl, I think, a few previous shows, maybe international somewhere, but that one actually was for, I think it was, like you said, Action Zone. Yeah. But yeah, man, I love working with Carl, no doubt about it.
I remember when you had a good drop kick. You had your cinch shot over the top rope, like either way, either in the ring or outside the ring. Right. And for a guy at 6'5", nearly 290, nearly 300 pounds, like you're flying, like you had the whole package. And from what I remember, you just came out of a meeting with Vince, and they had promised you the Intercontinental title. And I think they were switching ideas. Say, we're still going to do it, but not now. We want to go with Sean for a while, and then we'll go back to you later on. And that's when you felt like maybe they've been working you a little bit, That's my take on it. I might be wrong.
No, well, that everything you just said did happen. I think also I had an energy drink deal that they pulled out from under me. It was sort of like a Slim Jim deal that Randy had, but it was an energy drink. And I'd already met with the board of directors, and it was all a go. And then at the last minute, Vince snatched it. So it was just a combination of those things building up.
Yeah. Adding frustration.
Yeah, you got to know
on the road days in and day out, and not seeing your family that much and things like that. Because we were, I remember I was on the road one time for 45 days almost. Wow. Yeah, when you do your washing on the road, you've been on the road for a while.
Yeah. But nonetheless, you had the people, no? Now, Tom, I'll fill you in, Tom. That's a joke between us that That's what, after we'd worked each other for a loop or so in Europe, and we had everything down. We were doing all our high flying. He was doing all his crazy bumps, and we were doing everything. Had the people, I mean, from every whole building, we had the whole arena rocking. We come back through the curtain. Come back through the curtain,
and yeah, as soon as you approach whichever agent, we had the people.
It was Patterson. Patterson goes,
Yeah, Patterson.
like he was asking the question of, did you get them or not? Did we get the people?
Yeah, the people, no.
Yeah, of course we did. Just, I don't know if that was his way of sarcasm or what it was at the time, but either way, we know we had them. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
The crowd were going banana.
yeah.
I'm going to love that footage to see that. That footage is going to be good to see. I'm glad we're adding that in. That's going to be nice.
It's great. Yeah. So many good times for me as a viewer and as a fan of the past, to be able to watch you guys and then obviously interact with you on this is brilliant.
And you know what? After all the match, I was so nervous. Really, believe me, I was nervous. I kicked David so hard that I knocked myself down. If you ever go back and look, I took a bump on my own. I thought I broke his ribs.
You did it amazing. I watched that again last night, just so you know. I'm doing all my research, and I'd watched it way back in the day, but I watched it last night, and you did, man. The buildup between the whole match when you guys were faced off against each other, and the whole buildup. I mean, and like you said, when you walked out to that crowd, you could see not just rows of seats, but levels and layers of people, and it was packed. You guys had so much heat going into that, and again, when you said you kicked him, you did take a bump. You kicked him so hard.
I've got to say as well, I've never seen a referee fly like you did out of Hogan's hands over that top rope. My Lord.
Okay, let me tell you this now. We're at the warehouse, right? We're practicing. Hogan's got me up just like you did there. And he said, I'm just going to walk you to the ropes and toss you to them. And I said, okay. And when he picked me up, he started running. I said, oh, my God. There's no way he's going to hand me to them like he said he was. And when he launched me, I went over Andre, DiBiase, Virgil, and everybody. And I splintered the rotor cup once I hit the floor. I splintered the rotor cup in my arm. But I was so hyped up then, excited and whatever you want to call it. It never bothered me. Then the next day, when I was coming home, I was on a plane and I was moving that arm. I go, God, I can't hardly move this thing. And then I called Vince and told him, I said, I think my arm's messed up and from the floor. Because after the show, hell, we drank so much beer that it was no pain anyway, We were celebrating. And so anyway, made a long story short, I went to Dr. Andrews in Alabama to be checked out, and I splintered the rotor cup. So came home, and about 2 or 3 days later, he scheduled me for surgery. I went down there and had surgery on it. So my first day there, then come home, and I'm home 8 to 10 weeks doing rehab.
Well, like I said, I watched it last night, and when he threw you so far and so hard that you went over everybody that was supposed to help break your fall, you went over those guys. Yeah. I was like, where the hell did he go? And you went flying, man. And like you said, he didn't walk and then give you the shot. He went like a run.
He was jogging.
Yes, sir.
What's our favorite line, Brian? This referee, it don't work for me, brother.
Yeah, that was it. I was like, okay, these guys, does he have some heat? Does he owe him some money, or what's the deal?
Brian, hold up, Brian.
Okay.
Hold up.
All right.
You tried to be nice now, Brian. Now I'm gonna tell a little story. Yeah, okay. And you try to be nice, and that's not right because you're a low down, dirty creep too sometimes. Now I remember when I make a mistake with Brian, he was like Fred Sanford. He never just say, it's okay, let it go. He had to say something first to cut you down, and then he'll pick you up and say, it's okay, though. It's all right.
I'm trying to build you up, man. I'm building you up.
I
the ground
remember
up,
we
I'm
were.
building you up.
I remember my first kick to you once I jumped the rope was going to be a round kick to the body to kind of loosen you up to get away from Glacier. So you said, just kick me right here. Kick me here, and then I'll step out from it. He said, just kick me here. So I got in the ring. I was nervous as shit. So the first time I was supposed to kick somebody, I kicked him so hard in his rib. He looked at me. He said, "Oh, you prick." You stiff prick.
Yeah.
But then
I'm
he kept going. He kept going with the flow. It was so funny the way he looked at me like, I'm gonna kill you.
It happens. It happens in the business. Hey, I'll tell you this, and you know this to be true. I would rather you lay it in and let it look believable than it be weak, and then I've got to try to sell something weak. So it flowed together. It worked, and I'm glad it did. And I would take it the same way.
Bro, listen,
you know,
for that thing to end up like it ended up, but the way it started out, that should show everybody how big that thing could have been if they had put the energy and time into it. Because that night that we got in the ring and did that thing when y'all were beating Glacier up, the crowd was with it, man. I mean, it was beautiful. The crowd was with it. These two mean-looking guys out there with these costumes on. I mean, it was beautiful, man. It was a good beginning of a great storyline.
Yep.
You know, but like he said, with so much going on, they really didn't have time to kind of fulfill that obligation to make it successful.
A trip down memory lane. We finished everything off with the cats. Oh, the memories of those red shoes hitting the canvas with James Brown. The stories that man tells, they are timeless. They are timeless. Speaking of timeless, this show is literally going to become timeless. You guys are going to be traipsing back through the archives to check out the full versions of these shows, now available on your favorite podcasting service, whether it be from Apple Podcasts or Spotify or anywhere else you get your audio podcast. Or you can check out the full video shows on our main page on YouTube. Hit it up at Real Bryan Clark. That's exactly where you can find us. But we've had such a phenomenal year, man. It's been so good. We have had visitors, viewers, and listeners from all over the globe. Now, looking at this list, and I'm looking at this list, I'm going to see how many I can tick off. Bryan, tell me where you think we've had listeners and viewers from in 2025.
Well, Tomcat, I'm glad you asked that question. So I got a few cities for you, what we like to call the Meltdown roll call. So here we go. Madison Square Garden, Royal Albert Hall in London, Tokyo, Osaka, Toronto, Boston Gardens, the new one and the old one, LA, both Philly Spectrums, Manchester, Rome, Singapore, Philippines, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Munich, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Vancouver, Berlin, Hawaii, Zurich, Lisbon, Vancouver, Chicago, Calgary, Phoenix, and even a guy sitting in a boat fishing away in Lake Michigan. That's right. The Tomcat is so over, he's got a guy sitting in a boat, for God's sakes, in Lake Michigan. All over the globe, people are catching on to the Meltdown.
No pun intended, but we are literally reeling them in, and we want to catch you. So if you are yet to subscribe to our show, please do hit us up at YouTube and search for @Real Bryan Clark. That is the home of the Meltdown. Please click that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Each and every week, we are going to be coming out with new, fresh content just for you. And we are the show that is all about you guys. So if you've got questions that you would like to pose to the big man himself, yes, feel free to go deep and poke the creation of devastation with your questions, or you've got that little niggling itch that you would like to scratch when it comes to one of our guests. We are open to be taking your input as well, and we're one of the only shows out there that does that. So jump all over it and let us be your forum. Speaking of forums, we are all in for followers and subscribers. So subscribe to us on YouTube and hit us up on our social media channels. I'm going to bat it over to Bryan. He can tell you all the different social channels that he's on, but make sure you subscribe on Instagram to @The Meltdown Official. That is our main official page that's just missing that little blue tick, but that's coming in 2026 as well. And @Tom Finkill. Please feel free, hit me up, let me know what kind of show you would like to hear in the coming weeks. But Bryan, tell everybody where they can interact with the very own COD.
I will do it, absolutely. As we start this off, I want to give a big shout out to our good friend Jonathan O'Dwyer, who's doing some amazing graphic works for us. He's crushing it. I can call him up and Jonathan, can you? And he's already got it put together because he knows me so well. He's been working with me for so long, and now he's working with the Tomcat, and the three of us together, man, like I said, the graphics are amazing. And again, thank you, Jonathan. Much love, my friend, and we appreciate it. So for our social medias, of course, it's Real Bryan Clark on X, Real Bryan Clark Facebook, Bryan Clark 3X Champ on Instagram. Yeah. And of course, Real Bryan Clark on TikTok. Yes, we are on TikTok, believe it or not. We have been for a while. And who knows, maybe down the line, we will actually put a Meltdown page on there, but we'll see. A lot of good stuff, big things coming in 2026. I want to tease it just a little bit and just say there's going to be a little more interactive things happening, not just a tape delay or a show every week, but the very big chances of some stuff coming up that you're going to love. I guarantee you're going to like it. So it's a matter of Tom just doing his booking and putting it together. That's what he does best, man.
I do my booking like I do my hair. Very big. Let's keep 2026 big and full of volume. It is going to be a corker. Well, we're going to be out here for our first show. Get yourselves prepared for the most epic year. Happy New Year to you all. Hope you had the most sensational time and get set to take a skyrocket to the moon. From here in Manchester, my name's Tom Finkill. Remember, shoes ain't cheap, booking ain't easy. Bryan's going to wrap it up in a nice big bow. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you everyone for listening. By the way, sponsorships are now starting to ring. So we are not above taking a coffee sponsorship. Tom's a coffee drinker. I'm a coffee drinker. Hey, coffee companies, just throwing it out there. We love our coffee here on The Meltdown. So again, thank you all for watching. We appreciate it. And we will see you next week where we are always breaking necks and cashing checks.